Peace, family. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Family Business. Our health, our wealth, our business. Today I have the great privilege of being with a brother in the community. Man, when I moved down here, he was a mentor. He was an elder. He was just a brother. You know what I mean? He was just a great man to be around, and to see him and his activity in the community was inspiring. So I'm gonna let him go in and talk a little bit more about what he does, but I want y'all to introduce y'all to my brother Sincere. He's an author, a coach, a mentor, a marriage consultant as well, and a phenomenal businessman, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But without further ado, just want to introduce y'all my man, Sincere.
Yeah, what's up, baby?
What up, brother?
How you feeling, man? We here.
Man. We here, definitely. I'm feeling well, man, and I'm glad that you came by. You know what I'm saying? I know in this post-COVID era, it's a little hard to get around, or you know, some people feel, but this is family business.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? It's only right that we do this in person.
Facts.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man, life is good, man. Life is good. I'm here for the family business, man. The family said pull up, we pulling up. So that's what we doing, man. But life is good. I ain't gonna have it no other way. So we ready to build, man. What we talking about, brother?
Definitely, man. Well, I honestly want to dive into just number one, you're an author.
Okay,
right?
No doubt.
And you know, we see this on social media, the hot topic. Everybody talks about it, and you know, I feel like there's other conversations to be had, but it is an important topic in our community, and that is man and woman relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I wouldn't want to speak about it with anyone else but you, being that you're an author and you studied not just, you know, opinions and how you feel about it. Also a married man. I have the privilege of knowing your wife and beautiful woman, you know what I'm saying? So tell us a little bit about the 30 love laws and how you see relationships in this era right now.
Oh man, awesome way to kick it off, man. We just gonna dive right on into it.
Definitely.
All right, man. So, man, the 30 love laws was a labor of love, man, and the best way to put it is early on I saw what I didn't know about relationship. Right. I got married early. Going from, a youngin' in the streets of Mississippi to the military, I wanted to take a little bit of home with me. So I got married early at 18, actually.
Okay.
Got married at 18.
Really?
Divorced by 22, brother.
Tell me about that.
Man, it was the worst and best time of my life at the same time, man. Because it really tapped me into scholarship. And one who was on the knowledge and wisdom path from an early age. And being a part of village, being raised by a village, I'm like, I know that this is not how it's done. Right. Due to my immaturity, her not knowing what she needed to know, but it was more reflection on myself. And not truly being taught certain things by a man. So that put me on the path of learning and growing and developing. So, man, all that gave birth to the 30 love laws, man. All that gave birth to it, marriage and divorce.
I want to touch on that before we go more into the book, because I think that's an interesting upbringing, interesting background. Yeah. I've had to, I tell you all the time, I was fortunate. Just because of the era I grew up in, to have both my parents.
Word.
And not only that, to have both my parents, but to be in a community where marriage was important.
Yeah.
The man and woman being together, instilling certain values. We had rites of passage growing up. And I always felt like, just when I got older, looking back, I always felt that when people got married early, I felt like there was things that they haven't learned about themselves yet before they can make that deep of a commitment. So would you recommend getting married that early, or what are some of the things that you learned about yourself getting married at that age? Man,
that's a great question. I learned that I had a number of blind spots that didn't even come to light until I had to coexist with a wife. Right. So that taught me a lot about that process and how to take a look at those blind spots and turn them into strengths. Right. So that's essentially what I had to do, and that started my learning process, and that started my study on, shoot, man, let's really bust down this family thing and see the fabric of it. How does it materialize? How does it grow? How does it develop? How does it evolve? Right. So I took a look at my surroundings and I said, you know what? My mother wasn't married when I was young, so I didn't see it there. My grandfather had passed before I got a chance to know him. I knew him through pictures and stories, so forth and so on. So I said, you know what? The closest people to me, I didn't have an opportunity to see it. Right? But that was a good and bad thing. And here's why. It was a bad thing because I didn't see an outward version of myself in that role.
To see yourself in that.
Absolutely.
Representation is important.
Very important, brother. Yeah. Here's why it was a good thing. Because I had the ability to imagine myself as the man that I wanted to be inside of that scenario without any interruption.
Right, without somebody placing the template over you.
Right.
You were able to kind of start from scratch, kind of at a ground basis, at a foundational level.
Yeah. I could build the man from scratch by taking bits and pieces here and there. Because I had uncles that were there. I had strong representation in the village. It's just a man being there every day I didn't have. Right. So I had an opportunity to construct, to lead me into the space that I am now. Yeah. So yeah, all of that gave birth to collecting data, which became the 30 Love Laws.
All right, no doubt. So I'm gonna use that as a segue into 30 Love Laws. And before we jump into that, I want kind of that whole learning process. You know what I mean? And when I start to look at some of our elders, some of the people that I feel like there are certain people in my life that have been able to lay out a foundation on what a man was. And one of the biggest things that I see today in terms of relationship is to being able to identify what a man is and his role and responsibility, and vice versa, what a woman is and how she represents her feminine energy and how that comes together. Because we all know today with social media and celebrities and the what a man is and what a woman is often confused. And so I feel like knowing that is going to give you the ability to then love outwardly. You know what I mean? And how that shows up in real life. You know what I mean? Can you kind of dive into the 30 Love Laws and how does that kind of allows you to navigate, within, society and what they portray?
Yeah, man. You know what, man? Learning something so important early on affected my journey. When I learned that the word man originally means mind, right? Okay. So now you're dealing with me as a man, and you're dealing with the woman or womb man, right? Okay. The womb symbolizes birth or teacher, right? Teacher or creator, especially in the physical space. Womb, birther, man, mind. So the woman is the birther of the mind. So now we're at the holistic order, spirit, mind, body. Okay. Right?
All right, I'm following.
So these things create a reality. So learning that thing, I'm like, man, so this is deep. So man originally means mind. So who we are as men is not the bravado, the testosterone. We're actually our conscious awareness level. That's what the mind is all about. What's your conscious awareness about? Right? So once I learned that, I'm like, oh, okay.
It gives a whole different perspective on your role and responsibility.
Totally different. So now I'm like, oh, I got to grow consciously. I got to know who I am and what I am so I can get to why I am. Right? So now fast forwarding to what you see today between me and my wife, it's more of a alignment of purpose, and it's more of a divine thing as far as our connection goes, based on how I've grown consciously. So it's not just a relationship, it's not just a love thing that goes through this this progression or the romanticized thing that we see with these movies. Right. That's void of purpose, and it's just a nice story that lasts for 2 hours.
Presentation, but there's something really depth and substance to it.
Right. You know? Right. So that's what we're on. Like, me and my wife are so connected, being happily married now for going on 7 years. Like, we are so connected because there's a purpose to what we're doing. We sat down and designed our relationship in a meaningful way.
I think you hit the nail, and that's one of the biggest things. When I look out into the world and look at it, I feel like for a lot of us, and I do blame this status quo of current culture that we live in, but this lack of purpose. We seem to be chasing pleasure. We seem to be chasing the idea of something without the purpose back behind it. You know, when I first moved out here, you had a show. You said, why did I get married? Right. And so I went to the show a couple of times. I don't know if you know that. I went to the show a couple of times. There was a couple of things that were said in the audience, and I was like, oh man, no, I don't really agree with that, man. But it was because I saw such a lovey-dovey, romanticized version of marriage. And from where I came from, I grew up in the ministry. Okay. You know what I mean? So when my mother and my father were together, what I grew up learning was, oh no, this isn't just about, I like you. There was a purpose between raising the children and raising them in a certain type of way. And when you have a relationship that's built off of something, you know what I mean, divine purpose, spiritual purpose, that's when I can say, oh no, we're together. Regardless of the how the relationship looks, if it's not built off of something that's purposeful and that you can, is the backbone of your relationship. Right. You said it's not gonna work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's funny that you talk about that event because when you throw events, you always need a hook. Right. To get people interested in. When people talk about love, it's all that lovey-dovey stuff, right? Which is that's the basement of what love is, right? And when I say basement, like that's where you start at, of a building a house. Like, we are emotional beings, and that's energy and motion, right? As it goes through the holistic order, right? But what happens is we get trapped there, right? Like, we get trapped in the emotionality, and it's all about it's all about I like you, you like me. This is how you look. This is how you make me feel. But it's like, well, what's the challenge like? How are you going to challenge me to grow, right? So what type of work are we going to do together in the community, right? What type of example are we going to create for our community, right? See, me and my wife, before she became my wife, we had these types of conversations, right? See, I come from a village that's always been in the community. Like, my grandmother was the grandmother for the community. No doubt. And still is.
Used to be.
In her 90s. Yeah. Right? Okay. The oldest living elder from the community. Right? So that's a part of my DNA. So she set an example, like, everybody knew that they can go to Miss Hattie Mae's to get a plate. Right? They knew where it was going to be safe to play because she didn't allow no craziness. And she had too many babies patrolling. Right? So with all that being said, man, we made sure that we went through the levels of love. Because, see, that's what most people don't get. You start in the basement with the emotionality. Then there has to be a strategy for how you're going to attack that purpose of being together. Right? That's a coexistence. Right?
That has to be communicated.
Absolutely.
It can't be assumed. It has to be, talked about. And I feel like in a lot of relationships today, they get caught up in the look of it. So they don't never touch on those. And I don't want to call them difficult conversations, but they're important conversations.
Necessary. You know what I mean? Vital. Right. Vital conversations.
What does marriage look like to you? What responsibilities will I have in this marriage? How do I make this work for you? What kind of space are we building together? Things like that.
Consciously, what are we doing? Right. Yeah. The kissy, holding hand. Yeah, that's cool.
It's nice. Going out, going up to dinner. It's nice.
Right. Buying this, driving this, living here. But what are we doing? Right. How are we growing and developing and evolving? Not just ourselves, but the people around us. Right. So that was our earlier on conversations. My wife was like, hold on, this is a little bit deeper.
Had those conversations.
Right. But I'm like, babe, listen, we've both done this. My wife's been married and divorced. I've been married and divorced. So I've traveled the world to learn a number of things about us and our existence, who we were at our most civilized state as the original man and woman of this planet, right? So I'm like, man, there's a lot that I didn't know about who we are and what we are. But see, so when you learn about love, see, love is still a relatively new concept.
Right.
The earliest love, it wasn't termed love at all, it was tribalism. Right? So we got love through tribalism, like it was in what was done and how we grew and cultivated each other. Right? With the basis for community being family, the connection between the man and the woman to create family. The original Trinity, woman, man, child. That's the original Trinity.
Right. Now, it's so funny that you say that because, just looking at how relationships have developed, like my own personal relationships, I've always tried to learn something from a relationship until I was able to like kind of understand, and I always looked at it like, yo, this love thing, it's like y'all keep on romanticize. Whenever I hear other people talk about love, they give me the whole, the knight in the shining armor and then the Cinderella story. But I'm like, no, love, because I mentioned, I was talking to somebody. I said, love is black. When we talk about black love, black love is deeper than a black man and a black woman being together. Black love is about building a community. Black love is about being able to be there for other people. It's just not about the intimacy of love. It's about the loving of who you are and where you come from. So when you bring up the, when you say, because I've never really heard it put like that, but when you say before love, there was tribalism. It's like this, it came from this deep-rooted responsibility for one another.
Come on now.
And when we start talking about love, and I'm in a situation, I'm in a relationship right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've graduated from situationships to relationships. You know what I mean? Right. I'm in a relationship right now where we have to have these conversations, and it's like, yo, what does this mean to you? Good. You know what I mean? Yeah. What does being together mean? And how do we show that? I don't want to just show our love by holding hands with you. How do we go out and actually exude what we feel for each other? And the only thing we have to build. We have to build, you know what I mean? And create something, creating an example for other people. You know what I mean? And I feel like that goes back to that tribalism where in the community, you are an example, you're a provision for one another and for others. You know what I mean? It's not just me, you individually. You know what I'm saying? It stretches beyond that. So I just was really, that tribalism concept really stuck out.
Yeah, brother, I took a deep dive on this thing, man. I've been studying that 4-letter word and connections and relationships for now. This is my 20th year. Right? So I released the book in 2016, but it's just taking folks through the idea of what love is, because we have poor definitions. If you take a look at it in the dictionary, it's connected to emotionality, which means it's going to be this. Yeah, like, is that it?
Webster done sold it out.
Come on, man. Come on. But then, in the most popular book, the Bible, at the highest order, it's the divine. What we know is God, the source. So, okay, at the basement, we got emotionality. At the highest end, we have a divine connection. Right. So, which is it?
We have to, so where the floor is at? What floors are we climbing?
So this is the thing. It's all of that. Right. It's in phases. So we make the mistake of using terms like, shoot, man, I think I'm falling in love. Nobody falls on purpose. To fall is a mistake.
Right.
The proper order is you have to ascend to. So at the highest level, it's a divine connection, and that's what me and my wife have. I refer to my wife as my divine complement. She's not just my wife, she's my divine complement, meaning she was made exactly for me, my mission, my purpose, and vice versa. My job is to help her reach her highest self. Because that's what love is at the highest order. I created it as an acronym, living on vital energy. Right?
That living on vital energy.
Right.
No doubt.
Right. So we have to understand these things, man, in a greater way.
And just to kind of like parallel and I just turned 34, but my understanding of love and relationship had definitely came through, just trials and tribulations. But I'm at a point right now, and it's so interesting because I feel like a lot of this is just really speaking to me. One of the things we call in a relationship, my man, she refers to it as my kingdom partner. You know what I mean? And then when we talk about love, we talk about growing in love.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? And there was an elder that actually was explaining that to me because they also had that notion where it's like, yo, you don't fall in love.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you don't. Right. And we were talking about a couple different things about chasing versus attracting.
Come on.
Don't chase a woman, attract a woman. Don't chase a man, attract a woman. And then don't even chase love. Attract it. Build that love inside of you, and love will come to you. And so when we start talking about these ideas, you said it's new definitions for these words, and I feel like we have to have the conversation in order to add context to the words that we use. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of times we see the repetitiveness on TV and things like that, but we got to take that love off of the airways and put it right back into the living room. If you know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. Yeah, man. And have it in its original context. Right? So you can't talk about love in its totality without the foundational building block being tribalism. You can't remove the purpose from it. You can't just romanticize it because you make it less substantial, right? Like now you knock it down to just a feeling, which at its lowest level, we gonna give it a shelf life, because that's what happens to emotionality. It has a shelf life. So you're gonna feel good.
And sometimes you're not gonna feel
right.
good.
You're not gonna. And sometimes you're not gonna feel good. Then you're on that high,
right? That roller coaster of emotion. Right.
See, man, a lot of us don't even recognize that we're treating it the way that we're supposed to, based on the definition that we give it. Right? See, the problem is that we haven't elevated it to its highest definition, because it's all things. It's just like the idea of Most High or the Creator. Omnipresent, everywhere at the same time. Right? The Most High is in you, the Most High is in me, at the same time as we sit here. Whether I'm here or not, whether you here or not.
Right.
That's omnipresent. Love works the exact same way. So if my wife calls me, or if I feel something and I call her, if I was just about to call you, or I was just feeling the way, I needed to hear your voice.
That explains it.
Yeah, man.
We talk about the synchronicity of it.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking about you. Or I'll see something, I have a thought, then I get a text message. It'd be, it'd be that type of, without it being all the lovey-dovey stuff, I just see it as something that is very purposeful.
Yeah.
I see it as something that is divinely synchronized. You know what I mean?
That's it, brother.
As you move. Let's dive into some of the laws that you
sure.
Can you name, just, off the top of your head, you spitball a couple and kind of go into a little bit of that.
So, man, we can start with the first one, and that's choose happiness. Right? We're in a construct to where we think that things bring us happiness. Right. Things, people, ideas, clothes, cars, shoes, houses. Yeah. The outward things. But happiness is an inward assignment. Right?
Choose to be happy.
And the fact that we choose it. Right? So you bring happiness to the party. Like, you don't show up for the happiness,
right.
Or the happiness will forever live on the outside of you. Until it lives on the inside of you, you're not going to be happy, and you can't project that into your present and into your future.
That, and I'm happiness. The first law is choose happiness. I'm gonna use that same principle to something I learned about peace.
Come on.
I learned this when I was real. I was doing my studying and reading, and I learned something. You say when you have peace. When you have peace inside, you carry peace wherever you go.
Facts.
And it's like you don't show up, or something outwardly can't affect you. Okay, well, if I could just pay all my bills, I'll be at peace. No, be at peace, and your bills will be paid.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying? Be at peace inside, so you could be in the most chaotic area. You could be in the most chaotic situation, but if you have peace on the inside, then that is what's going to resonate out of you. And I feel like that's the same concept here when you're talking about happiness. You got to be happy on the inside. You got to bring that with you, you know what I mean? And represent that so that when you go into these other spaces, you exude that. You can literally change the atmosphere of the room because of the energy you bringing into it.
Yeah.
You know?
And now we're talking alchemy.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now we're talking alchemy, which is something that I practice. Right? I can't be affected by the energy in the room. I come to affect the energy in the room in a positive way. Right? And that's a growth process. You have to learn your power. Right? You have to learn that we are powerful beings, and we can either decide to harness power and project it in a positive way. We can harness power and project it in a negative way, or we don't think that we are as powerful as we are, and when we go into spaces we are affected by the energy in the space.
We're affecting it.
Right.
We're affected by it. No, that's and I honestly, these type of things, I feel like we are missing in our community because we're not taught that through our current educational system.
Facts.
Our education is number one, and our education isn't just in the schools. Our education is what we see on TV.
Come on, man.
What we consume in terms of music, what we consume in terms of even just our wants and desires, what we are told to be. So when we're told that this is what you should want, you know what I mean? And I see this a lot of times with young women when they want marriage, as if marriage is the I say this all the time. Marriage, exactly. Yeah. Marriage is not the goal. Right. Marriage is what you receive when you reach the goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the way I see it is when you fully develop yourself into when you develop your emotional skills, when you develop your consciousness, when you develop your ability to control and to understand your own power, that's when marriage is rewarded to you, because now you're fit and you're able to be married. You know what I mean?
You mature enough, you've elevated to the level that's going to allow you to properly take care of the responsibility.
Right. So, I like that, because if you don't, you'll lose it. If it's not developed to that point, that's why I believe, that's why there's a lot of the divorce rate so high.
Yeah, see, this is what happens in that space. And I work with clients regularly, some married, some not, some want to get into that space. The biggest thing that I see is they make marriage the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. So when you reach that pinnacle,
what is it? Right. The only way out there they go to is
it's time to go down now. Mm-hmm. Like the event is the beginning, not the end. Right. So the way that me and my wife looked at it is, man, this is going to be a great start to what we build.
Right.
And we would say that. We would say that to each other. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to have a great start to this thing.
Right.
And that is what our wedding was. So instead of our wedding being here at the top of the mountain,
right,
like we put it somewhere around the middle. Mm-hmm. So we still climbing the mountain even after the wedding. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we still ascending to that love thing.
Right. Because that's not the end goal. You know what I mean? That's not the end goal. I'm reflecting right now.
Yeah, brother. It's a part of the process.
Right.
Like it's a part of the journey that we accepted willingly. We wanted to be a part of each other's journey, and we want to be a part of the journey that helps our community be better.
Right.
Through what we're doing. See, we've gotten into this thing, and some of us have carried it over from an older generation and said, well, do as I say, not as I do. That ain't working for the newer generation.
Nah, they calling it out.
Right, they calling it out. Like, hold on, Pop, now you telling me to do that math ain't math.
And a lot of things we do just because we were the generation before us, you either told us to do it or told us not to do it, because there's a certain generation, sometimes they rebel and they do just the exact opposite, just for the sake of it. But you got to be able to teach them why we're here. You know what I'm saying? Why this marriage thing is coming together. It wasn't just here because it's an idea. You know what I mean? Right. It's here with a purpose. It's here with instruction.
Come on.
You know what I mean? It's here with a certain responsibility that you take on. Because I told and this is something that I was actually telling my little brother. This came to me just in reflection. Like, you gotta be bold for love.
Come on, man.
Love is not for the weak. Love is not for the weak. You know what I mean? You gotta be bold in order to assume that responsibility of love. You know what I mean? You can't come into it thinking it's all rainbows and butterflies. You know, you got to be bold enough, number one, to put yourself in a position to be accountable and responsible.
Come on,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that means, you know what? I can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I accept that, and I'm still willing to go and jump all in head first. You know what I mean? Because you can't hash that love.
No, man.
You know what I mean?
It's audacity in the highest order. Right, like you saying, man, listen, I'm gonna put my cards on the table. Now, some people, they have step, but it's almost like being a professional ball player. So if you go into a halfway, that's gonna cause an injury. Right. So you either go all out, or you're not gonna reach your highest level. And some people, they want to put some of their cards on the table, but not all of them. It's like, I can't be naked like that. I can't be vulnerable like that. So that's why it's so vital that you do the work up front.
I've done that in the past.
Brother, we all have. We all have. Like, that's a part of my playbook. Right. But that's why I got hurt. So now I learned that what I need to do is I need to engage in the scholarship of love, in the scholarship of marriage. That way, I can bring everything to the table and tighten up my discernment mechanism. So I'm making the proper choice. They say, well, Sincere, how do you know that you're making the proper choice? Wise counsel. You need to actually do the work. Right? See, there is actually an order. Tribally, there's an order.
Right.
There's the Most High, the source.
The divine order.
What we call God. That's our ancestors. Then we got our elders. Then bridge builders. Right? That's folks like me that have learned some things, still more to learn, but I've reached a teaching space. Right? Then there's our youth. Right? So that's men, that's woman, man, child, but there is a sacred order. Right? So if you don't have those things in line, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Like, without my wise counsel, without the Baba Barudis. Right? Without being able to crack open a book, read complementary. With Baba and Iniyah. Like, I need that.
Right.
Shoot, the Bobbies. Like, this brother used to be security for Muhammad Ali. Like, that level of knowledge and being in the fight and being in the struggle and seeing certain things.
Comes with wisdom.
Right. I have that wise counsel. Like, even though I'm out here writing books and speaking on stages and performing, I still gotta have that wise counsel. I gotta tap into the elders. I gotta tap into my ancestors. I gotta tap into the Most High. Right? Now I'm in order.
Right. No,
See what I mean?
I get you. Divine order, and I feel like that's one thing that we're missing. And I always come back to the kind of the culture that we live in, because I don't think it's conducive to who we are as a people. There is divine order, and there is an order to doing certain things, but we live in such a postmodernism time where it's like anything goes. If it happens, and it's like, we got to come back to the order of things. There are roles and responsibilities that we have to execute in order for us to see this divine purpose come to fruition. You know what I mean? Like, men have to step into that role of the divine masculine. Women have to step into that role of the divine feminine, but that doesn't come from, happenstance. It comes from, like you said, learning from the elders, learning from the community. I think one of the, not only do you have and this is something that I think that we're missing a lot of, not only do you have the order of, Most High, ancestors, elders, but there's something to be said about brotherhood. And sisterhood.
Absolutely.
To be able to learn from one another and correct one another. They say, I saw this thing where they said, if you have a dog with bad habits and you want to change his habits, put him around other dogs. Right. And that brotherhood, that camaraderie will shape him into how you move in it. And I feel like a lot of times we move so individually, where it's like we lean on our own understanding, we lean on our own, perspective and things like that, But just putting that out there, it's like, we do need that brotherhood, we do need that divine order back in our community.
Yeah. Like, that's speaking to foundational principles of tribalism. Right. our superpower have always been our ability to collectivize and communalize, right? So that's how we learn. See, we've gotten into the Western philosophy is all about. I'm gonna tell you, but I don't have to necessarily show you.
Right. Just do what I say.
Yeah. I'm gonna teach you a thing, and then we're gonna give you a nice, shiny certificate, a diploma, a degree, so forth and so on, with lack of proof. Right. See, we are people of show and tell, right? See, our warriors were storytellers that teach our babies how to be warriors, right? The idea of what it is to be a poet. See, poets are your original teachers. Yeah. Right, brother.
We passed it down. Or
we passed it down. Right. So we've lost some of those elements, but it's okay that we're here to bring it back. Right.
The Renaissance.
Right. Man, it's Sankofa time, bro.
No doubt.
So that's what everything is about. That's what the book is about. That's what the businesses are about, man. That's what my connection to my wife is about, right? So I had elders that charged me that said, man, you got to be out here in these streets. Like, it's cool, you're on stage. That's cool. That's cute. Right? So what you doing in the community? How are you affecting our babies in a great way? The young men that's struggling, what you doing about that? Right? Like, everybody ain't coming to see you on stage. So you got to go see them.
You got to go to them.
Right. In as many ways as possible. The book, the stage, actually setting foot in the community.
In the trenches, yes.
Yeah.
Doing that work.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm gonna see if I could segue this thing nicely, see how I can throw that out. Once you talk about tribalism, as in our responsibility to one another. Yeah. And then I kind of want you to segue that into what you have going on with Arrive.
Yeah.
You talked about that platform. And I want to call it a platform because there's so many different elements to it. I don't want to just pinhole it into something one thing. But let's first talk about the tribalism, because I honestly feel like one of the things that's hurting our community is that we keep on following behind a culture that doesn't represent who we are.
That's it.
We live in America has this individualistic peg. It's their stance. You know what I mean? They're individualists. Do it yourself, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and that's it. That's all good and great for the rah-rah. But for us as a people, that's never really been our strong suit. That's not even strong suit. That's never been our go-to. We've always been a communal people. We've always been a tribal people because we always held on to that responsibility for each other. You know what I mean? The word Ubuntu, I am because you are, and we've always seen it like that. But now we're thrust into a European, culture that doesn't emphasize those values, and I think that's one of the constructs that got us messed up, is because we're following behind something that we're not. That's not who we are. You know what I mean? So if you could talk about the responsibility we have for each other.
Oh, absolutely, man. Tribalism, man. We're gonna keep it simple. The first three letters is tri. Tri.
Okay.
Woman, man, child. Right. So we starting right there. Right. So everything that we do as a people has to have tribalism at the root. Everything.
Respect for man, woman, and children.
That's the context right there. Or there is no other purpose for our existence. Right. So we can't go anywhere else without that being the root. Right. So that's number one. So how we do what we do is based on that. How we move forward is going to be based on that. How we learn how we were so great from the very beginning is based on that. Right? So there is no future without the past, and the only thing that there is in this current moment is the present, which is a gift that was based on the things that our ancestors gave us to design our life in a great way from it.
So we have to go back to the understanding of where we came from in order to institute those same principles into today's reality and how we build around it.
I say, man, you said it perfectly, Ubuntu. I am because you are. Now, at a broader spectrum, I am because we are. Right?
Right.
Right? It's all saying the same things using the exact same principle.
Because the principles never change. I try to tell you, principles don't change.
Right.
How you feel, what you thinking, and this may work. That's cool, but the principle's been here.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not having to reinvent the wheel here. Like you said, man, woman, and child have been here from the beginning. That's the original.
From the very beginning.
So why wouldn't your responsibility start with that understanding? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's our job to go back and get that information, brother. Right. So we most often misunderstand ignorance because we think that it's connected to stupidity or unawareness. Right. So I'll just keep it simple. The root word of ignorance is ignore. So it's not saying that the information is not here.
It's you're ignoring.
You're choosing to ignore.
Willful. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. It's willful ignorance.
Right. That's the trouble right there. See, I always say it's not a problem that you don't know.
Right.
It's a problem you don't want to know.
Right.
And we all start from a place of not knowing.
Yeah.
When you don't want to know and you move in your own understanding without seeking any further understanding, that's when you get stagnant. That's when we start basing our ideas off of erroneous beliefs and something that I feel like the saying, if you don't stand for anything, you're fall for it. So when people putting up these ideas and and this is something that we seen I see on Instagram, social media. It's like they have all of these different ideas about relationship. Oh, well, he gotta buy me this and she gotta do this, and if she ain't doing this and it's like that's not the foundation of relationship.
Come on.
So
man.
why are we pushing these erroneous ideas out there without going back to the principles? The principles.
That's it, brother. So I ask a simple question. Okay, how do we get there?
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? Are you the owner of it? Or are you the repeater of a thing?
Right.
What's the origin of that idea? Right? See, I like to say all the time, nobody cares about what Sincere thinks. What I would much rather give you is what Sincere's learned on this journey.
Right.
By going back to properly go forward. Right? So, nobody cares about my opinion, but they do care about the scholarship. What can I use that can help me move forward, Sincere? Where do I need to go? Where'd you get that information from? Right? And I can point you to a principle, an idea, a proverb, right?
That gives me an idea.
Yeah, man.
An idea. And then just as we promote family business and put it out there, and I'm trying different ways of marketing it out there. One of the things I've done is I want to post videos of our master teachers. So I'm not sure if you follow me on Instagram, but I've been posting a lot of content from Naeem Akbar. He's he's a black psychologist. I'm not sure you're familiar with for the audience. He's a black psychologist that came up in that conscious era where with Dr. Ben and John Henry Clark and just being able to do the knowledge, do the wisdom for our people so that we could come back and have something to attack it. But one of the things he has always said, and I've tried to relate it, but like you said, people they don't care about my opinion. So maybe I gotta add more context. Like listen, according to
man, come on.
One of the things that he's always said is that we have to be taught how to be. You start off as a male. You grow into a boy, but you have to learn to be a man.
Come on.
And the same thing with women. You start off as a female, and then you grow into a girl, but you have to learn how to be woman. And I feel like all of that has to come back to what we're teaching each other within our community. How we're related, and we can't allow outside influences to come and then impact that education of learning how to be a man and how to be a woman. Because there are so many of these different ideas and beliefs, erroneous beliefs, as I call them, about being a man and being a woman, about that original trinity, man, woman, and child. You know what I mean? And of course, children learn from the elders as men and women grow and do their thing. But just wanted to stay on that touching, reaching back to the ancestors and allowing them to direct us.
Come on, man. The way that we do that, man, we got a name drop.
No doubt.
So we like to name drops on people that don't matter. right.
And the name drop.
Yeah. Like we got to name drop our ancestors, man. That's what keeps them alive. Like everybody's about clout. We talking about clout chasing and all that stuff. Using names of so-called famous people and celebrities. But my celebrities are Mama Idia, Baba Baruti,
and that's still with us.
Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Cress Wilson. Right.
Marimba Ani, who's also
Marimba Ani, let the circle be unbroken, man. Yeah. Like these are my celebrities,
no doubt,
right?
No doubt.
So it's
those are people I get excited for. Like,
the Honorable Marcus Garvey, right? These folks that have put in the work that I respect, that I love, that I've learned from, that I've read about, their journey. We have to keep these folks alive. That's the way that we do it. It's through the knowledge, through the work, right? Everybody knows about the Tupac, but I'm not sure that everybody understands the work that Dr. Cress Wilson put in, or one of our divine master teachers and scholars, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Benny Yakin, and Ivan Van Sertima.
Right. Carter G. Woodson, he does major things on education, and you know what I mean. And it's you're right though, that name dropping. You know what I mean. Those have to be the people. And I think who was it that said it? I believe it was Malcolm X. He said, when do we look? We're the only culture that looks at our heroes as celebrities and musicians and things like that. And people they reference hip hop artists, and I'm like, why? I'm not looking to the hip hop artists for scholarly wisdom. You know what I mean? Why are we looking at these celebrities who obviously are being paid to be in a certain arena? You know what I mean? And that jeopardizes their entire. They're not going to tell you the thing that's going to hurt their paycheck. They're not going to say the thing that's going to hurt their paycheck. So why are we looking at these people for wisdom and truth when we do have people that's actually
that's doing the work,
made the sacrifice actually? Because and one of the things who was saying that it was Kwame Ture. He said, one of our elders, he died poor.
Of course,
he died broke and he died poor. And why would we allow one of our great master teachers to not be able to? Why wouldn't we lift them up?
Come on, man.
Why wouldn't we exalt them to the heights that we exalt the LeBron James? Or why won't we exalt them to a height that we exalt the Jay-Z? You know what I mean? When these are the ones who actually went and did the work to find out who we are, to give us that, you know what I mean? And that's something big. That's something big when it comes to our culture. We got to be able to look at, the people who actually put in the work to get us here.
Yeah, man. Like you mentioned an awesome name earlier, man, that really lit a fire in my world to spark the consciousness within, man. And that was Carter G. Woodson with Miseducation of the Negro.
Yep. That's a book everybody needs to go.
Man, listen, man. That and just seeing how great we are, man. I throw around names not often heralded. Man, just taking a look at an Imhotep.
Right. Just understanding that history.
Man,
Imhotep was the one who started the medical field and the Hippocratic Oath. So we looking at in terms of holistic healing, you got to go back to the ones who started it.
You got to go back to go forward.
You might know Dr. Sebi, you know what I mean? But you got to go back to the Imhotep. That's where they
got to go back, man. The first recorded multi-genius, brother. Hippocrates is why doctors take a Hippocratic oath.
Right.
And he admitted that Imhotep was his teacher and he knew less than a third of what Imhotep knew.
Right.
So now you got modern medicine, which ain't no such thing as modern medicine, brother.
It's all come back from
it all comes from a root. It's the same thing as saying, well, you a modern man. No, you the original man.
Right.
Like you tied to the origin of humanity. You are not a modern man. You are tied to the original man. Right? So to put a label on anything else is to create separation. Right? So when you create separation, we trying to get you away from truth.
Right. Just so they can distort it.
Come on, man.
Distort it. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna go into the whole religious sphere, but that's another big thing. When we start talking about religion, they took you away from the origin so that they can, direct you in a different path, so that now religion is not bringing people together.
Right.
Religion is more divisive than ever.
So, come on, man.
You know what I mean?
Shoot, man. What's set your claim, man? Islam,
right.
Christianity.
Oh, well, we gonna argue about this.
Shoot, man. Where we at? You Hebrew Israelite or you Rastafari?
Right.
So what we doing?
Right. No.
So, what's set your claim, huh?
Right. And then, you know what though? The thing is though, like you said earlier, man, the principles is what you need to focus on.
Come on, bro.
The principles have never changed.
Shoot, man, listen, man. I get my brothers and sisters to sit down at a table. My brothers are Hebrew Israelite.
Right.
They Rastafari. They Muslim. Right. They Christian. They atheists. Right. So these are my brothers and sisters. You are me. I am you. You are my other. You are my brother. Being relative other. You my brother. Right. So I refuse in a spiritual space to have any separation between my brothers and sisters.
Right.
Any.
If we can get down to the principles, we will see that it has no. And this is the thing that it's funny. I like that. I don't want to get on the religious thing, right? But I was just thinking this because I saw an argument between. There was like a debate between a Muslim and a Hebrew Israelite, and I didn't stick around long enough to listen to the whole thing because it kind of threw me. It rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, and this is the reason why it rubbed me. There was spirit before there was man.
Come on, man.
So if we're gonna talk about anything, all of these religions is a perceptive is what came out of man's understanding the spirit. But spirit came before man.
Come on, bro.
It came before your religion. It came before your dogmas. It came before your organized religions. So if we can come together and understand spirit has never changed. Spirit has always been here and has been our guiding. It has been the guiding order. You know what I mean? That divine order. Yes, but our splintering off of understandings has disrupted spirit's ability to guide us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are you following? Are you following man's perception or are you following spirit? Because spirit ain't gonna change on you. Yeah. Spirit's gonna be spirit. You know what I mean?
See, man, what you're saying is exactly why I dove into the study of etymology.
Right.
It deals with the origin of words and evolution thereafter. Spirit originally means breath.
Right.
So you're not even animated without that force of nature in your chest that's referred to as breath. Right? The simplest form of meditation is deep breathing. When COVID came in and attacked the lungs, your ability to do what? Breathe. Right? So as much as it was a physical attack, it was a spiritual attack.
Definitely.
Right?
So spiritual warfare.
Of course, you attack a man's spirit, that attacks his ability to develop conscious awareness. Right. So now the holistic order is thrown off from the top down.
See, we're going to go on a whole nother topic, man. I do believe that there is an attack, it's spiritual warfare, but what we're attacking right now, what you see being attacked is the natural order of things. And we're being led away from the understanding of spirit. Yeah. And the reason why spirit is so important is like we talked about, it does not change. It gives you that order of highest consciousness. Right. Now, what is our connection to the highest? And this is coming from me.
All right.
Our connection to the highest order is spirit.
Come on.
We are connected through it. We are an extension of it, and to strengthen our spiritual inclination, to strengthen our spiritual bond as we build this bond. I think of it as like an antenna that's getting bad reception. Right. When you strengthen your spiritual bond, you get a better connection, so you get a better understanding of spirit. You know what I'm saying? What gives you that connection to the Most High. Yeah. But you got people throwing you all this, this nonsense here. It messes up your ear. You get that white noise. You get that crumbling. You can't really hear the radio station like you need to hear the radio station. But as we strengthen our connection and we strengthen our understanding of the spirit, we are now strengthening the connection to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what they're attacking. Yeah. You want to throw that white noise in there so that you don't know what's left, what's right. And if you don't know what's left or right, I can tell you to go anywhere.
Come on,
brother.
Know what I mean? So come on, man. Like your senses are off. You are distorted. Right. So
I like that.
So your force of nature or that breath within comes from the ideal of the word nature. Right. The original force of nature. Right. So you have what folks refer to as hieroglyphics, but it's better described as medu nature, Right.
That's my latest of studying.
Yeah, man.
I feel like
Absolutely.
they give you it's more of a grounded understanding of who you are and where you come from.
Come on, man.
I mean?
So, man, by pictorially illustrating out these principles and these ideas, giving you everything from spirit, mind, to actual physical body. Right? The true holistic order. And when I say holistic, I ain't talking about the industrialized stuff where they take the W off and it leaves a hole.
Right.
That's the root word of holistic, industrially, whole.
You're talking about whole as in holistically the complete order of.
Right. So when you put the W on, it leaves you whole. Right? So that's what I am as a holistic relationship coach. You got to leave that W on. Don't take that W off because it changes the context. Words have power.
Yes, they do. You're a spoken word artist. You know.
Come on now. Come on, man. So it's understanding these things, and if there is not order, then you are in disorder, disarray, which causes dysfunction. What is dysfunction? The inability to function properly. Right? So now we're in a space to where the reception is thrown off. Why? Because our connection is thrown off. Right?
State of dysfunction.
Right.
Right.
So that affects our ability to connect to each other, brother.
Exactly.
That affects my ability to connect with my sisters, my children, my elders, my ancestors, the Most High.
Man, I hope they follow this.
Right.
I hope they following this right here because there is a domino effect.
Of course.
To not knowing your origins. And what we're looking at is the representation of chaos. You know what I mean? That dysfunction has created a chaos and a confusion amongst us. And we keep on throwing out, it's supposed to be like this, and the men would just do this, and the women would just do this. It's like, we gonna play that game all day.
The blame game.
We can play that all day and night, but you gotta understand there's a certain atmosphere of dysfunction. I love the way you put that.
Shoot, man, because I have conversations with couples all day, or folks that are looking to get back into that space where they can make a substantial connection with another brother or sister. Right? So I'm in that space. So they like, all sincere, this is how it has to be. And I'm like, okay, so what are we basing this on? Right, just give me an idea, a principle or something. Well, this is how I see it. My mother and father, okay, I understand your perspective.
Right. That's what it is, a perspective.
It's a see, we've turned the truth into my truth.
Right.
You got your truth. Right? Mm-hmm. So now
that's the ego at work.
There is a muddying of the water. Mm. So now you got all this truth. Now what's blinded? The truth. Mm. The truth is that there is the truth, and then there's everything else. There's all these different ideas, perspectives, opinions, so forth and so on. Right. The truth is unchanged. Spirit represents truth.
Right. That's what it is.
Right.
And that it's not. What to say? Say be before it is fleeting. That's the word I'm looking for. It's fleeting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That if you don't base anything off of the principles, these different beliefs and ideas, they change throughout the times. You know what I mean? Right. They culturally reinforced, not spiritually reinforced.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
So these things that we cling to as our truth.
Right.
We have to be able to make sure it's rooted in something that is truth. You know what I mean?
That is the truth.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that we're clear about the truth. Right. There are things that made us great as people from the very beginning. Right. That represents the truth. We can still tap into that. Right. How I feel is not the truth.
Right. What I want,
that's going to change.
The truth. What I want. What I desire doesn't represent the
Come
truth.
on, man.
You know what I mean?
That emotion is going to change. That represents a circumstance. So now we got principle versus circumstance. Truth versus the situation.
Perspective.
See, most people, they elevate the situation and it's void of principle, void of standard. Right. So now you've elevated the circumstance or the situation. So now you can be swayed by it. So now your decision is based on the situation versus your principles or your standards or the truth. The truth of what you really are, which is a child of the Most High.
Child of the Most High. Right. I like that.
Right. So how we moving based on that? Right. That's the question that's got to be.
And I love how you did that. Nice little segue into Arrive.
Yeah.
And everything that, because we spoke about it off air. It was more of a one-stop shop for growth.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. That's how I received it. It was not just, I don't want to just, give you a job. I want to be able to create opportunities. I don't want to just give you, tell you what I know. Right. I want to facilitate education. I want to facilitate these different things in that spirit of tribalism. Our responsibility for each other.
Yeah.
So if you could talk a little bit more about Arrive and how that you want that to impact the community.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Arrive is a rideshare company that's revolutionizing rideshare. Right. So that's our motto. Arrive has arrived. And what is Arrive? It's a communal-based company that's going to take care of the community. Right. We're starting off with rideshare. People need transportation. Right. People need opportunities to make money. Right, so we're gonna do that. So we're putting people behind the wheel of their own destiny. Right. So we just creating a platform to do that, and we're partnering with brothers and sisters. We're gonna build a community. The first community that we're taking a look at is out in Lovejoy. In that area, we're building a gated community. Right, and we also gonna help people with the two biggest things that this economy requires of us. Right,
and
that's a great place to stay. It's something to drive. Transportation,
shelter.
Absolutely, man.
Shelter and transportation.
Absolutely. So we're using Arrive as a conduit to be able to do that. We're offering opportunities. So we're having drivers drive with our rideshare company. I'm one of the principal investors, and Carlos Lovejoy is the founding principal. He's the visionary behind it. So his background is cars and real estate. He had a exotic car company here in Atlanta, and he went into real estate as well. But his whole idea is bringing the community together, providing our own opportunities, and creating a sustainable community.
Right.
Profit sharing. Right. So our whole idea is to take care of each other.
Right. One of the big things that I've talked, we in the community, we talk to people, and we always hear, how can we come together? We talk about unity, we talk about cooperation, operating, together.
Sure.
And there's a large, I wouldn't say large, but there's a population of people that don't believe that black people could come together.
Right.
Or they think it's too far-fetched, right. You know what I mean? But it's, in my mind, it's simple. It's simple when you break it back down to the principles.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Being able to satisfy or be of service to each other. If you want to build a community, right? All we have to do is have a group of people who are of service to each other.
Right.
And how do we do that? By creating these opportunities. By being able to control these opportunities.
Right.
Because a lot of times we go to the FHA and we go to outside of our communities to satisfy these needs.
Right.
But if we can go to each other to satisfy the need, it creates that self-sustainability. It creates that, how they say the dollar in the black community doesn't last about 15 minutes in our community. You know what I mean? But it's because we have to go outside of our community to satisfy our needs.
Right.
Once we have the resources, and I'm not going to talk about what celebrities should or shouldn't do, but you hear a lot of people say, I can't give money to people. I can't, I can't give everybody a job. And it's like, you don't have to do those things. Right. You have to facilitate that opportunity, facilitate that environment where we can rely on each other, or we have to depend on each other. See, one of the things that people don't know is that we did have strong black communities.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And post slavery emancipation, in the Reconstruction era, a lot of times we had strong black communities because we had no other choice but to depend on each other.
That's it.
And when we create that environment for depending on each other and relying on each other, it's going to create a cohesive. It's going to create a unified, just for the simple fact that I need you, brother, and you need me. You know what I mean? The minute you take away the minute you start reaching outside of your communities to satisfy your needs, that's why you don't see the unity. You know what I mean? So when you start talking about arrive, I see that as our ability to satisfy needs within our own community.
Come on,
you know
man.
what I mean? And I think that's what's going to be the game changer in terms of moving forward into this next era, because, you know, American culture and things that's going on, politics and it's very weak.
Right.
The foundation is very weak, to say the least. You know what I mean? So tell me more about Arrive and how you can see that, you know, being able to service the needs and creating self-sustainability.
Yeah, man. Like what it is a community incubator, right? So we're looking to grow youth. We are looking to grow men and women by providing opportunities. Just to give you an example, we want to say, okay, sister, if you having a problem over here holding this job down, one thing that you could do is drive. You got your license, you have a car, all you got to do is turn on the app, somebody jumps in the back seat, or you can build your clientele. Like you can say, listen, I got a ride share service, because we're empowering people to do that. You're a driver boss. I got a ride share service. You go to work every day, you don't have wheels, I do. Getting back to the communal element. So all you have to do is book me through the app. You can select me.
Which is different from a lot of these ride share apps.
Right.
And then, you know, they take on that more of that corporate structure where, you know, everything is going to be benefiting the business, the corporate, instead of the actual individual who's powering everything.
Right, man. That's it, man. And we are going to be a community board. Like, we're going to support other entrepreneurs by giving them space on our page to project what they do. If you have a merch line, like, you're going to be able to be seen on the Arrive website, right? So we are celebrating entrepreneurship. We're teaching it. We're going to help you develop your clientele. We just going to use the app as a tweener to be able to do business and keep track of it, right? So all of these things have been thought out for over a year, and now we are live. We went live June 1st. We were the official ride share for Juneteenth Atlanta. So yeah, man, we're moving on these ideas, man. The next element is real estate. We're already looking at our next market, which is Charlotte. We're already working on a franchising model, so other people in other states and other cities and other counties can leverage the app, right? With an investment. So now you building your community over here, man. Listen here, this thing is about to grow. Yeah, man. Yeah. So we're about to be a super spider.
That's dope.
You see what I mean? So that's what we're doing with Arrive.
And you know, that's one of the biggest reasons I created. I wanted to create this platform is so that we can speak about the things that are actually going on in our community.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you won't hear about this on a mainstream platform just yet. You know what I mean? I'm sure that we will get to a growth level where it's in a household name. But people need to know that there are people in the community that are coming to the aid of the community. That are creating the opportunities for the community within our own community, because I think there's a stigma that we're so reliant on others, and no one is really thinking about the black community. So why should I think about the community? But there are people here that are thinking about the community, of service to the community, and it's no longer a idea. You said y'all went live June 1st.
Yes.
So let's bring in the community to support the things that we're doing to solve our own issues.
That's
What I mean?
It's time.
We have, politics. We talk about having a black president. I think Cornel West, they just mentioned it. But I'm like, why are we having to go to this big government platform? Why do we have to go to these corporate platforms? You want these corporate sponsorship? Well, you know what? I think they said South Fulton is one of the richest, the highest, the wealthiest black city, one of the wealthiest black cities. We have the resources within our community.
We do, man.
We have the mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All we need is for the exposure, the representation, and for people to come on board. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Put away the Uber app.
Right.
Put away the Lyft app.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They don't like you anyway.
Shoot, it's a new sheriff in town, man. They digging in your pockets, man.
Man, listen, they've been running it up.
They're in your pockets, man. Like these other folks, they're in your pockets in a major way. And what we want you to do is win. We just creating the infrastructure for you to do that. right? Because everybody's not an entrepreneur. Everybody doesn't have the resources.
That's big right there. That's big that you said, because not everybody is an entrepreneur. We always get into this mindset, especially when you get stuck on social media. Yeah. Oh go in, be an entrepreneur, start your own business. Right, you know what I mean? Let me tell you, as a person who has started their own business, there's so much that goes in that they don't teach you.
Right,
you know what I mean? There's so much mindset that has to change.
Come on, man.
You can't be an entrepreneur with a 9-to-5 mindset. You know what I mean? And our education system teaches a 9-to-5 mindset.
Right.
So not everyone is built for that, and that's okay.
That's a fact.
That doesn't make you, less or inadequate or anything like that.
Right.
We can't all be bosses.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can't all be running the show.
Yeah.
But the key is to build the infrastructure to support the ones who, look like you, think like you. You know what I mean? Are you, represent you.
That's it. It's like I often say that you don't have to be the boss, but you can be in alignment with the boss, right? Not the boss of you, the boss of an idea that's going to help to free you.
See, that's the thing. That's what we got to elevate. Not the individual, but the idea.
Right.
It's not, okay, well, this person is so grand because, no, but this is the idea that is so grand, and we can all stand under this idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The understanding of it.
Shoot, brother, that's it, man. I created an acronym to help us get a better understanding of the language, and so we can bring the best energy to the table. So I created an acronym for BOSS that said Became Official Seeking Solutions.
Became Official Seeking Solutions.
Became Official Seeking Solutions. Right? So the westernized world created BOSS as this monster. As the dictator.
Right.
You go here, you do this, shut up, get to work.
Right.
No. That's not the idea of a boss. That is a version of a thing that's been created using the improper context. Right? So a boss has an idea. They create a structure for execution. Now, if you align with that structure,
I like that.
Then you can benefit from that idea, from that vision. Right? So that's those. Now we're getting back to original principles. Right? Tribalism ain't about dictation. Right?
Tribalism. You always come back down to the principles.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So we right back at it.
Right.
So we using, again, tribal idealism, the original fabric of connection. You take the idea of economy and where it is now, it's been blown out of proportion. That's why we got all these crashes.
Yeah, because they got too much greed going on.
Come on, man. Yeah. The original economic system was bartership. I have, so you have. You have, so I have. Right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We just started putting price tags on everything.
We started capitalizing off of people.
Come on, man.
There was always the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
And the haves capitalized off the have-nots. And with that, now don't get me wrong, that's the simplest form. There's so much more that go into it. But at the end of the day, when we start talking about these economic systems, when you talk about socialism, communism, capitalism is one that is built off of capitalizing, literally capitalizing off of the lack of others. You know what I mean? And so that's something that we gotta pinpoint as something to shift away from for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not about capitalizing. Now don't get me wrong, like if you provide a service, then guess what? I'm gonna pay you for the service, and like you said, bartering. It doesn't have to always be that fiat exchange. But it's going to be an exchange of energy. It's going to be an exchange of time, resources, anything that I can exchange for what you have that is of value. You know what I mean? And that idea is something that we got to kind of get out there more so than this get the bag.
Yeah, man, that's it. Like, so we've turned into extremists with everything, right? So the idea of capitalism itself is not a bad word, but if we turn it into an extreme idea, then it becomes a bad word.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. It opens up too much room for corruption.
Yeah, it opens up the can.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Now what else can I capitalize on? Who else can I capitalize on? So now we're sliding away from the middle, which there's a saying that goes that the divine principle sits in the middle and looks left and right. Right? Outside of the divine principle, you have two extremes.
So you have the theory
on the spectrum.
Right.
So on this side of the extreme, you only look in one direction. On this side of the extreme, you only look in one direction. Right? The divine principle sits in the middle, sees left and right, and can turn around and see a 360 as well. Right? So now we got the circle. So if you go back to the principle, it always tells you the right way, and right is only short for righteous.
Right. I like that. Definitely, man. Man, it's been a great conversation. We could go on forever. I'm sure we could. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what time it is, but I know, this they need you in the community. You know what I'm saying? And I know that you have a coaching call and mentorship things that you have to do, but I do want to thank you on behalf of Family Business. You know what I mean? And we all need this VIP.
Come on, man.
You can't forget that. You know what I'm saying?
Inspired poets,
for sure.
Yeah.
If you real quick, can you tell anything about where they can find you at, where they can find your book?
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about VIP. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. VIP is a dope collective of 9 of the dopest poets on the planet, and we are a communal vibration. Right? We are a movement. We are leaders, first and foremost of ourselves, but in the community. And we're looking to project the example of what the griot is and how it affects community in a positive way. Right? So that's what we're doing with VIP, Village Inspired Poets. Is not only upper echelon to push ego. We are about the village. We are inspired by the village, and we are poets in that village. All right, so that's what it's about. So y'all can check us out on Instagram, Village Inspired Poets. No tricky spellings. All right, you can check me out at Sinsear Sincere on IG, Facebook, SINSEAR SINCERE, and Arrive.com, ERYVE.com. You can see the vision. You can tap in. You can be a part of the email list so you can see what's happening and what we're doing in and for the community, y'all. So tap in.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. And, as a community member, we definitely appreciate your energy, your commitment, your everything that you bring to the table, brother. You've definitely been a mentor to me, and as you always say, you've been a brother. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you. So from Family Business, appreciate you, brother.
My brother. Peace of love, man. I only wish you greatness.
My man. And make sure y'all tune in. Check out the next episode. We want to thank y'all for tuning in to this one. This is Family Business. Our health, our wealth, our business. Family Business.
Yeah.
Peace, family.